with so many people moving to Tennessee, moving to Nashville area in specific, there's a lot of really positive things I can talk about. But if you know me, I am brutally honest in everything that I do, especially here on this show. So today I'm going to talk about the 5 worst things about Nashville, moving to Nashville in 2022. Some of those are a little bit different and some are perennial problems. But that's what we're going to talk about on this show. If that's of interest, see you on the other side. Absolutely no city is perfect, and especially cities that are going through some big growing pains like Nashville, because it wasn't that long ago, I'm a native, I remember this, it wasn't that long ago that we were just a great mid-sized little city that kind of had some obscurity. Now we are one of the it cities. We're considered one of the top 50 cities of the country. So we've got some growing pains. If you know me, I am honest about what's going on. And in this show, I tell you all about the great things about living in Nashville and show you different areas. So if you are seriously considering moving to Nashville and you haven't subscribed yet, where have you been? Go ahead, subscribe to this show. Here on Nashville Redefined, every single week, I do show you neighborhoods, communities, talk about the good and the bad and the ugly about Nashville, show you all the different counties and why you might want to live in one county versus another. Everything you need to know about living in Middle Tennessee, moving to Nashville. So go ahead, subscribe to the show and tap that bell, because every single week you will be notified when I drop a new video. Truly, number 1, in my mind, is the traffic. Now, we've got so many different issues going on with the traffic. First, it's newcomers. And you newcomers don't seem to realize that we don't stop when we're driving onto the interstate. We also call them interstates, by the way, not freeway. And we don't stop. You merge into traffic. But you as the merger don't have the right of way. So you gotta kind of take your time, be polite, merge into the current traffic, and then get going. It seems to be a real problem. Also, we have a lot of what we call rubbernecking. Not that. You don't need a chiropractor. It means you can be going along perfectly well on the interstate, driving along, don't see any kind of wrecks, and suddenly traffic has just stopped. You finally get to the place where, it's at a crawl. You finally get a place where you can see what's happened, and thank goodness, typically it's not something horrendous, and it's mostly on the other side of the interstate anyway. So it's people on this lane, your lane, looking to see what's going on over there, and it just slows traffic to a crawl. There's nothing that interesting going on. Just keep moving, please. The rubbernecking is a real issue. A third one is some people evidently come from an area where if you don't go at least 30 miles above the speed limit, you're going too slow. They can dart in and out of traffic like a lightning bug. It's crazy. It's scary. It's ridiculous. You're still going to get there about 14, 15 seconds before I do. Slow the freak down. Traffic. One more piece of this. We are not used to snow here in the Nashville area. So when it does snow, for the most part, actually the city shuts down for a matter of a minute or two because it doesn't last long either. But when we do get snow, we actually get ice. Ice is impossible to drive on. I don't care if you had no problem driving where you're from, because you probably had snowplows. You also probably had sweet little soft packed snow that really wasn't that big of an issue. And you also could use snow chains or different, you had the equipment for it. We don't have that in Nashville. It doesn't happen that often. And so we also typically have ice. I don't care who you are. You cannot drive well on ice. So slow it down and learn how to drive. We have a lot of hillsides and curves, and it's very easy to slide on down that curve. You don't know what you're doing. Just slow it down when it's time for icy roads here in Nashville, or stay home. Everybody's working from home anyway. Speaking of roads, that comes in as the number 2 issue, or a problem for newcomers here in Nashville area. It's kind of not for us. And that's only because you get used to it. Nashville roads change names frequently. For example, I grew up on Old Hickory Boulevard. Now, if I just mentioned to you, I live on Old Hickory, you might think you know where I am. However, Old Hickory goes into 4 different, completely different areas of Nashville, and it changes names as you go around. So it might be north, south, east, or west. There's a piece of Old Hickory, but it also becomes another name at different areas. Another one that's going to be confusing is Bradley Parkway, which becomes Thompson Lane on the south side. As you come around south and go west, it becomes Woodmont when you get to kind of one of the very expensive areas of town. And then it becomes White Bridge Road or White Bridge Pike. I never can remember which. It takes you back around to the other side of Bradley Parkway. Harding Road is another confusing street. Harding Road will take you, if you go further west, it becomes Highway 100 and Highway 70. It splits, taking you onto Bellevue or further out west. As you come into town, Harding Road becomes West End Avenue. West End Avenue becomes Broadway when 21st Avenue merges with it, and it takes you all the way down to the river. So here's what you need to know. Google Maps may become your very best friend, and Waze is a great app because it tells you not only the best route to take, but it also tells you when there is maybe some rubbernecking going on and you might want to take an option. So they're going to become your best friend. You'll end up getting it, but it can be confusing. Now let's talk about the weather. People ask about this all the time. Here's what you can expect. The unexpected. Weathermen do a great job of what they can do, but here's what you can expect. Our hottest months will be July and August. June could be pretty nice. Today's only about 85, but there's very little humidity. The issue with our weather for the most part in the heat is the humidity. If you have hair like mine, there's not much you can do with it. Scrunchie is going to be your very best friend. Winter is typically going to be really January, February. It's dark. It can be very rainy, but even December, you have 50, 55 degree days for the most part, maybe high 30, 40s nights. It's not bad. Our winter is essentially 2 months, the January, February. And just as you're just sick of it and you're thinking, when will this ever end? March comes along. March, April, May are rainy, but that's what you need because we have beautiful, glorious green trees and grass. And I don't know about you, but I've spent some time recently out west and I like my greenery. Now, let's talk about something else. Tornadoes. People know about them. People are afraid of them. I get it. I've lived here my entire life. I've lived through several tornadoes, not personally, but obviously we've had them. We've had 2 really big floods. We are surrounded with the river. The river is what people love so much for all the sports. But when you have heavy, heavy torrential rains, you sometimes have that. Here's what we're going to do. We're not going to buy a house next to the river if that's a concern. If tornadoes typically don't hit the same area twice, but what I'm going to do is help you find in every home the best spot for you for safety in that home. And you just learn to get used to it. You listen to the forecast, and frankly, when your time is up, your time is up. Given the choice between earthquakes, heavy torrential rains, hurricanes, forest fires, I'm going to take the possibility of heavy storms and the occasional tornado any day. But we do have it, the unpredictable weather. We'll find you a safe place in your home. Every home has the best place for it. We'll talk about that. And hey, if you're enjoying this show, go ahead and reach out to me. If you're seriously thinking about moving to Middle Tennessee, I've been a realtor here for the last 35 years. I've helped hundreds of families. Go ahead and reach out to me. We can talk a little bit more about whatever it is that's concerning you. And speaking of the great outdoors, honestly, that's why so many people love it here. They don't even know they're going to love it here. They may not think of themselves as big outdoors people, but when you get here, it beckons. So if you like to hike, if you like to mountain bike, if you like to road bike, if you like to fish, if you like to kayak, there is something for everyone. But with that outdoor activity does come some outdoor critters. One of the worst things I can think of as a child all the way to now is we've got chiggers. Chiggers are disgusting little, I don't even want to gross you out. They're disgusting things that are really even hard to see, and they will make you itch like crazy. There's so many wives' tales of things to do. Maybe it's skin so soft. Maybe it's putting clear nail polish on your chigger, and that should make it suffocate so it dies. And it's kind of gross. Just don't think about it. But here's what I've got to say. If you're going to be walking in tall grasses, if you're going to be hiking, you need to have something sprayed on you with DEET. And I'm sorry, for those who really want to do everything all natural, it's not going to help you. It's just not. And you'll go through one season and you'll wish you hadn't. You're going to need to get some deep woods off and spray it on your shoes and your clothing at least. And that's going to repel them from jumping on you, and they might go to your friend. But chiggers are really awful. They itch really badly, and there's just no getting around it. You're going to need something with DEET to keep you chigger free from July and August, maybe early September. If you're going through grassy areas, you're going to see, you're not going to see them, but they're going to see and find you. And they walk to places that they shouldn't walk, and that's where they stop, and they bite you, and they itch like crazy. Also, you're going to see a lot of wildlife when you're out. If you're over at Radnor Lake, you're going to see turtles. You're going to see bald eagles. You're going to see possibly snakes. We don't have any bad ones for the most part. Just get away. You're going to see squirrels. You're also going to see a possible random possum here and there. We've got them. If you're out in the countryside, we've got them. But we've got deer in a lot of places pretty close into town. You may have found a mama deer has left her baby deer while she goes out to graze. She may have left her baby deer under a fence or kind of in the shrubs while she goes out to graze. Leave it alone. If you see one, don't touch it. She's going to come back to get it, but mama's got to have a little time off too. And babies sometimes wander off just like little kids. So you're going to see that wildlife here. It's wonderful. You can see foxes. It's wonderful. But if you're not expecting it, it might be a little scary. If you have small dogs, small pets, keep them inside. The fifth most difficult thing I think about moving to Middle Tennessee now is it's just hard to find housing. There's a lot to do, a lot of planning to do, and getting your ducks all in a row. With COVID, the last couple of years, with the lack of housing for new construction, that's going to slow down. We really don't have very much inventory. But with 100 or so people a day moving here, beginning about 2019, we've got an awful lot of people moving to the Middle Tennessee area for all kinds of reasons. That makes it difficult to find a home. So that makes it very important for you to do your research before you begin to even move here to the Middle Tennessee area. There are things that we can do, a strategy we can do to help you on your coming from town end, coming from city end, when you're moving on into the Nashville area. It takes some planning beforehand. 2020 and 2021, we had massive increase in home values, 17 to 21, 22% on average. Now, the good thing for you as a newcomer to Nashville looking to move here now is the 2022 rest of the year projections are not expected to be above 9%. Part of that is because we're out of COVID times. Part of that is because there's so much pent-up demand for people to maybe move up to a house or move back down to a house, and they're starting to do that. Part of that is the inventory of homes has increased, and some of the new home construction is being able to be finished because supply chain issues a little bit eased. All of those things mean this might be the best time, because while we have rising interest rates, a little bit higher than they have been. They've risen, but also the amount of inventory is coming back on the market is a little bit higher. So we're seeing a little bit of a softening in the market, maybe a softening even in some of the terms that buyers have to offer to sellers to have their offer accepted. Listen, the best way for me to explain all of this is for us to hop on a Zoom call. This is what I love to do with anyone. All kinds of questions about how to make the plans, what's the best strategy, what are some of the costs involved with moving to Nashville, all of those things. But the most difficult is that's tough right now. So you need someone who is an expert in it, who's helped hundreds of families move here, and is seeing the nuances and the small, subtle changes in the market that we are seeing right now to help you making the best offers, best purchases, and the best chance for a touchdown on getting that house. You need someone who's in the market daily and can advise you. So with that in mind, this fifth is the most important, reach out to me. Go ahead, call, text, email. I'm getting so many calls every week. My team, we're helping people move in Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, Columbia, all over the Middle Tennessee area. Reach out to us. We can help you too. Till next week, where I'm going to Hendersonville. We're going to check out Hendersonville, which is the land up by the lakes. I think you'll enjoy it. See you then.